Who are we bringing up tonight?
Tonight we have Zach Fugman. He was actually my first passive deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The very first passive deal I invested in was Zach.
You invested with him?
And
that's cool.
Sue.
Full
Yep.
turn.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Well, we got to give you microphones. I guess that would help. I forgot. You didn't know they were. Talk to my wife.
We
I forget what I'm supposed to do.
Kept a big secret from Karen. That's so. Anyway, we joined in Lifestyles in 2014.
Hold the microphone right up.
Yeah, sorry. There you go.
Yeah, there
so we joined Lifestyles in 2014. I went to a 2-day class with Dell. I knew pretty much right away I wanted to do this. Signed up.
And you were an engineer,
I
correct?
was an engineer. I was like, I wasn't the type B engineer. I was like, because I'd been in the oil field and I had to really go attack things and get things done. And I said, hey, honey, we just spent X amount of dollars.
No, he called me like about after lunch on the Sunday. And I was at home and he said, hey, honey, I just spent 18.
It was like $18,000
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah. I was like, screaming like, what?
She was screaming.
You didn't tell me anything before you spent so much money.
I was like, here's her, and here's my cell phone. Right here, you can hear her. So
I was like, mad.
Yeah. So anyway, she ends up. I said, go next month, and she joined, and then she sees it, and she's like, comes home, and she's like, sell the house. Let's go. Anyway, so anyway, I grew up in I grew up in Cincinnati. I actually I was at University of Cincinnati chemical engineer. I was in oil field services company from 2006.
Anybody else oil field workers in the room in any way?
Yeah.
Only one or two?
Yeah, I mean, actually, like I was working here for a while. It's when I quit I was living here in San Antonio, and so when we had gotten to our third lead deal at that time, but she had already, and then you're.
So I would, before I became a mom, I was doing international business, and I was stay-home mom for how many years? 6 years?
7 years.
7, yeah. So we didn't have any experience on real estate at all.
Yeah. So we had only our personal home, but we went into the houses hard, and like the day Jeff and earlier, like, and the other, they're talking about all buy them. We did go to 15 houses. We would go nuts on it. But so it was Julian was saying, it's like, yeah, once you become into multifamily, you kind of like, well, these multifamilies are a lot nicer. So in 2020, we ended up selling them all. So we've been a lead investor on 12 different properties. We've been an independent rental on 2. And one of the things we really like to do is like we've helped a lot of our friends and families. We would KPs because like for the longest times, I don't know what it is, like brokers like me.
But let me explain to you, because speaking Greek again,
Yep.
a KP is something called a key principle. So let's say a new guy's trying to buy this $10 million property. Well, if you're not worth $10 million, they're not going to let you sign a loan. So him, because he has a high net worth, he can help sign a loan to let them do that. So it's giving back to other people, helping them. That's what it means.
Yeah. So in essence, but a lot of them, I would just like, I'd call up people, hey, here's a deal. Like we've even like, I've multiple times I've tried to say, David,
Yep.
Jeff, here's a deal.
We all help each other.
I don't even have time to look at it, but you look at it, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. So,
Cool.
Next slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, why don't you take this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
Yeah. All right.
There's a map with pictures.
So I wanted to show you the reason why we joined, right? So this is all the places when I worked for, I'll just say Schlumberger Oilfield Services.
And you click it a couple times, right?
Click it, and this is where so we moved 8 times from 2009 to 2019, and like click again, this is where all our kids were born.
Wow.
So
our son, our last kid, he was born here.
Okay.
And he was born 5 days after we did the due diligence.
On our first
5 days
lead deal.
I
after.
remember you being pregnant out there, due diligence.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
So a little bit, I want a little background. So the property, this isn't the property I'm presenting, but this led into it. So we actually, in 2020, we bought this property. 139 unit in Northern Kentucky. We purchased in 2020, right before what happened, and then anyway, we were out like 2.6 million. We sold in November, and then we gave about a set on all equity, about a 78% return in about 33 months. And then we're like, hey, everybody, there's this other property, like 4 miles as the crow flies away. Do you guys want to go 1031? And yeah, most people.
So what 1031 I'll teach you this weekend is, who wants to not pay taxes? They took all the profits and rolled in the next deal so they had to pay no taxes. Who likes that?
Yep.
I'll teach you how to do that.
Yep.
So,
Now, real quick though, before we move on, when they see this 2.6 million, a lot of people in the room don't have 2.6 million. You had partners in this deal, right?
right. We,
What was your lowest investor? You remember on that one?
25?
So how many people come with 25K? Remember I told you that? So you can do this. It doesn't. You don't have to be a millionaire. I just want you to know that. Okay. Next slide. You want? Okay. Click. Work. There we go.
Back.
Back one. Back. There we go.
Okay, so the property represented is the overlook at Clifton, which I went to the university nearby. I'd actually been to this place when I was in college. I didn't live there. I had a few drinks, but I knew it. So came up for sale in November of last year, and we had to battle a 99-year-old man in best and final. And we had to go to the seller like, look, he's gonna die in due diligence. and like, I was like, I mean, his money's probably hard. So I mean, like, but he doesn't care. But I said we're the right people, and the broker and I knew that we were close and much better chance of me surviving through the end. So.
You never know what you'll get in lifestyles.
So we ended up, we needed a little bit more money for this. So we ended up, raising a little bit more cash than what we had from other investors. So we have to open it up to other people that we had already networked in Lifestyles Unlimited. Okay. And so our initial.
So real quick, I'm going to ask a couple questions because the new people here.
It's kind of a high level thing, but yeah.
I know, but it's here. You're raising $5 million. You're bringing a couple more people in there, but there's people watching all across America. Yeah. This deal's in Ohio. You're down here in Texas. We say here at Lifestyles, live where you want to live, invest where it makes sense. We're not going to invest in communist states. What I mean by that, if they're not landlord friendly, it has to work in our model. You understand, middle class housing. So, but you have investors in this. Do you remember how many investors? I don't know if you had no number.
We got probably 45.
So like 45 different families put money in this deal. Okay, some people put in 25K, some people put in 50, some people 100.
But you got to think though, in this case, as we did 1031, some people
right.
in 2020. So now that their dollar is working at like
twice as much,
twice as like a dollar set. They're like, so if it's making, say it makes 7% on them, it's more like it's making them 12.
Right. No, I understand that, but I don't want to confuse them with that.
I don't want to get too confused.
But here's some of the questions I want to ask you, because the people watching from Hawaii, the people watching from California right now, you're investors in this deal. How many of them are from Ohio? The 45?
2.
Okay. How many are from all across America?
Oh, just
most of them. Can you name a couple states that people invested in from that deal? Do you remember?
California, mostly half Texas. You have some people from Florida, Virginia.
Okay. So that's what my point is. Okay. So you guys here in here in San Antonio could do that. People watching from California, people watching from Hawaii. You can be anywhere, okay?
In Texas, we say y'all.
Y'all. Okay, I'm sorry. Use guys is more appropriate, but that's okay. Sound like Joe Pesci. So, one more question. Of those 40 plus families, how many of them physically went to this property ever?
This property?
Yeah.
Like 2.
2. So that's another
Ohio.
thing. That's another thing I want to bring up to you. Do you have to visit this real estate to invest in it? No. So who likes that hands-off part? Okay, you could be a real estate investor. I'm just giving you different ways of doing this. Okay? Cool. Okay. Ready?
Yep. So, anyway, I was going to have a picture for this, but I'm going to tell you, like, if you want to see some of our rehab pictures, and some of them are kind of dingy, but you can see and some of it might have been a little bit queasy to present. friend me on Facebook. I'll show you all kinds of pictures you ever want to see, like on our rehab. So,
And this is really what's cool when you're an investor in that deal. Ooh, that looks horrible. Oh, that looks horrible. Oh, where's my check?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Right.
You don't have to smell
Right.
it. You don't have to look
Yeah.
at it.
So-
You don't have to touch it.
Anyway, we're looking to be. I guess they missed the expenses there, but income's looking about 1.4.
640.
It was like, yeah, and it was like 640,000 of like actual expenses. But this first year, we are turning and burning, as they say. We've turned. There's 152 units. We've already turned 80. We're in the middle of turning 15 right now, and we're going to turn another 15 next month.
Wow.
So it's like
Give him a hand. That's good.
That's a lot of rehab.
So he's always in rehab. He's like a
yeah,
crackhead.
like I got tracks up and down my arms. No, so
We're making real estate fun again.
so usually, but that's usually just from like changing toilets and
Yeah,
streets.
yeah.
So right now we would say if you had to sell it today, it'd be at least worth 12.4. But that's because we just haven't actualized all the rents that we were going to get as these units.
Cool. So you got some pictures?
Yeah. So right there, you can see they had some parquet flooring that was like kind of originally from the 70s and
This is very
60s.
1970s. I mean.
Yeah. So like, I mean, this is a 1961 property. This particular was 6 stories, has an elevator, but it's like fireproof kind of thing. You know, some of these
They're
buildings.
made out of brick up there, right?
Yeah. Like we've actually had 2 kitchen fires, and it was like, and that was it. Like so it was like there's not a big. Yeah. So here's another one, right? So this is a kitchen. Look at that old, wonderful 60s and 70s cabinetry, and we're upgrading it to this. And then you see here, you got some roof. You see somebody beat the bejesus out of a door, and then we, like it had metal doors, but people weren't able to get in.
When you go after a metal door with a hammer, you still damage it.
You still damage it. Yeah. So anyway, here's the income projections that we have over the first 3 years of holding it. Like this first year, like just not going to be cash flow, because if you hear like I'm doing this many
doing the turnover.
there's too many turns, right? I mean, you're building the values and stuff like that. We have a bank loan on it with fixed rate, because this thing was in. We needed to get the rehab money out of it, so we went ahead. So we're saying like next year, we have IO this year, we have half IO next year. They'll start to burn out.
That's interesting.
And then we'll start to be distributing probably the first quarter of next year. It'll be
Still, the goal is somewhere around 7% return.
around
And that's tax-free. Who'd be okay with 7% your hands off?
Yeah.
But that's not the big thing. By them doing this turning and burning and fixing up all the units and putting in renters at higher rents, when we raise the income, and I'll teach you about cap rate and all that this weekend, don't worry about that right now. When he raises the income, he increases the value. People are buying this asset. The more money it makes, the more money it's worth. Does that make sense? It's a simple concept. So now we're going to show a projected return 3 years later. You follow me? Okay. And that's the big number. This is what matters.
Okay, so like you can see in year 2, they start to make cash flow, but we have the return in year 3, return of original capital plus another about 4.4 million. So we're projecting that over 3 years between cash flow and sale or refinance, that we'll be able to return about just under 100% of their money.
So think about that, guys. You put in 100K, he gives you back your 100K, and you still get another 98K after that. Who'd be okay with that? And how much work did you do?
0.
Now, who did all the work? Those two and their children, right? Trust me, they're children too.
Their kids
We're
work.
friends.
Our kids work.
Yeah. Give them a hand for that.
Yeah.
Because I know their investors are happy with that. So.
So how do you get to that number? How do you increase your NOI?
How do you increase it?
Yeah.
Next slide.
Oh, dang it.
Oop, back.
There we go.
So,
Oh, that's a pretty picture.
that's you know what that pipe is?
I don't want to know.
That's a public water that goes into the building.
Oh,
That's what they're drinking.
That's what your tap water is sometimes.
that's like Flint, Michigan.
So, when you replace some lines, you clean them out, you get rid of it's a 1960s property. You gotta do some extra plumbing work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You kick out your troublemakers. You got your guys with their pit bulls. Then the other
Not
picture,
the singer.
yeah, I mean, the other picture is somebody leaving their scrawny dog basically pooping all over the place, and you got to be like people, you got to be compassionate for the animals sometimes, but it's like you get rid of this kind of stuff, where the people allow this to happen.
So in simple terms, when you come to my seminar this weekend, Dell's philosophy is this: best product, best price. You'll end up with the best people. Does that make sense logically?
Yep.
At a particular price point. So the thing I want you to hear throughout the whole night, you notice they took ugly properties and they turned them around? It's really about community. Okay, it's about transitioning these people. Everyone deserves a nice place to live. Who gives with that? We take care of these people. You understand? You heard Jillian say there's a lot of pride behind this. So yeah, he's showing you the ugly part, but think of the end in mind. It's going to be beautiful for those people, and they're willing to pay more rent then, so we make more money. Does that make sense? See, there you go. Okay, awesome.
So
Then you've got a list of a million other things.
yeah,
you did as
there's
part
just
of your job.
just the real easy one was like they had fees in the previous owner had fees in the lease that they weren't even charging for. We're like, and we just started enforcing them. People lost their minds, but we're like, you signed it, so just
Cool.
pay up. So how has it changed my life? Like I said, I was pointing at we are always forced to move, but now we can choose when we want to move or where we go. It's like that. So like, for instance, today, Shay was in McAllen. I flew down there with the plane I bought with a partner, little 172.
Isn't that cool? He has his own little plane. What a pimp. Give him a hand.
We picked her up, had lunch, flew here, made some meetings, and now I'm here in front of you.
And you had to bring your instructor with you,
Yeah,
didn't you?
well,
Where's your instructor?
She's out there.
Oh, she's out
she's
there.
tired. So anyway,
He has to pay an instructor to
Yeah,
fly out and hang out with me.
well, yeah.
That's the lifestyle. Who agrees? I want an instructor to walk around with me. A little cane and stuff, right?
I'm here. You married her.
Yeah. I didn't say a pain with me. I said a cane.
And then like you got your sister,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah, my sister Dina earlier just mentioned about the deal in Mission. That's
Is your
my
sister here?
sister's.
Nah.
No,
Oh, you
she's
pointed
not
over there. I
there.
thought she was here.
That was my first lead.
Yeah.
Oh, you have. Well, I'm in that deal too.
Yeah.
I put mine in
Yeah.
that deal.
So
Yeah.
and then my
All the updates.
and then my brother, he became a member too, and I think he is in like 3 or 4 deals, and he's going to the next deal, I think, with N.
Do you see how it's a legacy thing?
It's becoming a family affair.
It becomes one person,
Family
then another
office,
family
right?
member, another.
And we have our kids to work
Yeah.
in the apartments. Our niece, our nephew, they all work in the. They're just like little tiny kids. They all work in the office, the apartment.
Yeah, Chinese labor, I'll tell you.
Start them young.
Wow, baby.
She's Chinese.
No.
Just stop right there.
Next slide.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's next for you guys?
Just continue what we're doing right now with the turns and stuff, and just getting kind of step back from acquisition, but just stabilize everything as best we can. The people have been saying the saying survive to 25 is like, no, thrive to 25 is
Yep.
what I want to say. It's
Yep.
we have these ups and downs, interest rates and markets, insurance, taxes, but like if we persevere as a team, we'll be all right. Even if a deal isn't going as 100% as you planned, if you put your nose to it, you work with a team, you work with a mentor, you'll be able to come out to a successful outcome. We're trying to build a great our long-term goal is to keep our property management company we want to be considered one of the best in the areas we work in. Teresa Harrell actually checked on a number of our properties.
That's the operation consultant.
So it's like he never mentioned Teresa earlier. One thing great about Teresa is she goes all over the country. She checked on some properties in Atlanta, in Alabama, and then she checked on a bunch of stuff in Mississippi.
She went all up and down the Mississippi River Valley last year.
So you got to feel good is that like Lifestyles is looking out for your best interest because like, you know, so like if you can't visit the property, we got people who can kind of thing.
And one thing I love, this is a power couple, you know. Zach's the lead investor, but I see her out there at different properties, working with the staff, helping out, maybe a manager's sick. She'll take over that job. Give her a hand for that because it's a very empowering thing to see what she does. I mean, she's very, very powerful. I've heard her speak at some events. I saw she's doing that stuff too, so it's kind of cool. You know, so don't think, a lot of people think there's a man's industry. No, we have a lot of female lead investors. We have men lead investors. Everyone can do it.
Like, I would not even. I might have been 2 leads if it wasn't for my wife. Like, I mean, like it was like, and I would probably hated it, but with her, it's fun. So yeah.
Cool. So really quick, kiss. Wow. What advice would you give the new folks coming tonight the first time?
I mean, just get like, you know, sit down, listen, engage, talk to other people who've done it. You know, let's like, I went to a case study and I was convinced actually I had a case study by some little lady who, you know, she turned $250,000 investment in 2001 into basically $250,000 cash flow in 2014.
Wow.
So like, I was like, okay, and not saying, I thought like, if I died, I want my wife to have something like that, like for whatever reason. So that's like, you know, you need to find some way to make your money work. And I found that this Lifestyles group, friends, all this stuff, the community has been amazing to make that happen. And like, now I think is like, you know, I need to probably lose a few pounds, but you know,
we've both been on diets together a few times.
But if for something would happen to me, I'm not that worried. Like, you know, like even if I gotta like, you know, I gotta take a year off from something like that, I feel like we'll be just fine.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Think it's a goal thing?
Okay.
Oh.
So who's on your team? Scott Van Ostrom is he's a Houston mentor, but he also has stuff in Cincinnati, so we converse a lot. And Nicole Scott is one of the national mentors and stuff like that. Henry Novak, you know, he's a 401k lawyer, and he helped me. Like one of the things. There we go. Yeah. There's our team. There's our Cincy team kind of thing. So that's at an event and stuff like that. Like it's just some of our real good guys up there, and then Henry, you know. He's been a good lawyer to us on stuff, but he did a 401k partition, which he'll tell you about on the weekend. Yep. But it helped supercharge.
Really quick, I want to teach you what a 401k partition is. How many people in this room have a 401k?
Not anymore.
How many? How many people heard there's a stupid limit of $50,000?
Yep.
Who'd like to get all their money out? Who'd like to move from one spouse to the other? I'll teach you how to do that and get all your money. It's really cool.
Yeah. Just saying that helps supercharge our ability to do more deals
Yep.
at one point. So
Cool.
And then awesome. And there's me and David at one of the after parties at one of the expos and stuff like that.
Cool.
So a bunch of us, we all talk a lot, text each other about. So it's a big community, and like if you get involved. You have to know who all the places, what to do. Like, especially here in San Antonio, if you make friends with Karen, you'll know everything about the apartment association ever.
That's my wife.
But yeah.
So one quick thing, Jeffrey. You brought a box up for me.
I did.
What is that box? Is that for me or for my wife?
It was a present for your wife from you.
From me?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh my God.
Karen, come up here. They got a gift for you.
Yes.
Come on, what is it?
I know
Come
what
on.
it is.
I don't know what it is.
Come on.
I know it's from American Standard
Open it.
because his wife worked. No, it's for you. Come on up here.
not for
Who
me.
wants to see Karen up here?
I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it for you, babe.
You bought. Oh, now she's making stories
want to
up.
die. Here, I'll hold it.
I can't open it.
Oh,
All
nails.
right, just shut up. So I asked his wife Carla. She injured her shoulder,
And she works for.
A plumbing supply.
His wife Carla, she injured her shoulder, and being the nurse in me, I asked her,
how do you clean yourself when you're in the bathroom? And she said a bidet. So this
Seriously?
is the lifestyle
That's
you,
the
Mike.
lifestyle right there, a bidet. Okay.
for you, my love.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Hey, you asked to come meet up.
Well, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was going to be like a faucet or something.
No, now you have a project. So when you go home, you have to install that.
So what does that do? It lets you brush your teeth while you're going to the bathroom?
Yes. It's a mouth rinse. Mouth rinse.
Cool. All right. So we have any questions for these folks?
Yeah.
We're all good?
Online question.
Really?
Online questions, okay.
Yes.
Good.
Rick is asking, what year was Zach's first lead property, and do they still own it?
Do you know where Rick's from?
Anyway,
I don't know if it says it.
Rick, where are you from?
Rick's from online.
so
Well,
our first,
I'd like to hear what state they're
yeah,
from.
so our first lead property we did in 2017. You know, it was a rougher experience, but you know, in the end, we were able to get out of 18 months, and everybody still made money on it. But so
Yep.
he made money, and it was like, I think I did more education for people on that first property than probably any other properties I've ever done. Like I basically
You learn a lot on those first
I
ones.
learned a lot.
First
Yeah,
one.
that's the priceless
Yeah.
Cool.
experience.
Yeah.
Anybody else, Carl?
Somebody was asking, what is daily rate pricing?
Oh, daily rate price. Guys, you're getting in the weeds now.
It's
That's variable rate pricing. Don't worry
It's
about
like there's programs out there that you can implement that changes your rent daily.
It helps
And
optimize your
it's
income.
it's a demand algorithm, and it creates a sense of urgency to do that, and it helps you push your rents, especially in an up
it.
market.
So it might be 1,000. This you have 48 hours to make a decision. Otherwise, it's going up to 1,050. That's what they're doing.
And
Yeah.
in a down market, it stops your valley,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
So instead of figuring out pricing once every month, it's every single day, so you have exact numbers.
Yep.
yeah.
All the nerds like that stuff. Okay. Cool. Anybody in the room? We're good. One back there. So the question was, how often? I'm going to repeat everything for the people online. How often are you visiting that Ohio deal?
I mean, I guess average is probably once a month, but like it might, like over the summer, we spent 6 weeks there straight. So, but
But you have a full
we
team.
have
you
a full team
staff.
now. Like there
So
was,
that, you see all those folks there?
So-
That's who runs the day to day. They're there every day doing it. You have managers, you have maintenance men. So that's what we do.
Zach can log into his property management
Yeah, I
software
mean,
from Houston
I,
and
w-
look
I
at
was
what's
te-
going on.
I was texting my regional or there before I even got up about this, about a number of things.
So you have a couple properties, a couple different states. Which ones do you have right now? Which states?
So we're in Ohio, Kentucky, which is generally the Cincinnati region, and then we're throughout the state of Mississippi. Just there's a lot of places that we've helped other leads and ourselves into, and now we've
came back to Texas.
Came back to Texas, and now we're in McAllen, Michigan, and we've always wanted to have a group down there, and we're trying to make that happen right now.
So a real quick question for this crowd. How many people like to put the deals together, do that hard work? Couple yet?
Couple.
How many people want to do nothing but just make money? That's 90% of y'all. Give yourselves a hand because you can do that too.
Yep.